Oh no, my car broke down and the repair costs are way higher than I expected. I need cash right now. I need cash. I can't also wait for payday. And borrowing money takes forever. What do I do? Wait a minute. I've been saving on the Achieve app. I should have some money there. Wow. My DigiSave investment on the Achieve app gained some additional interest. I love this app. With the Achieve app, I can instantly have access to my emergency savings anywhere, anytime. I've been saving little by little, and now I don't have to stress at all. Download the Achieve app today and start building your emergency fund. It's the smartest way to stay prepared for life surprises.
See, if you step out with 10 Ghana cedis today, you'd have to borrow money from someone else before you can get home, if I'm being honest. 10 cedis is worth almost nothing in this country. But what if I told you that with the help of Achieve, you can turn that 10 Ghana cedis note to something worth more by investing it into the DigiSave option on the Achieve by Petra app. In only 3 days, your money is invested and you get to see it grow in real time via the Achieve by Petra app using the DigiSave option. And you don't need huge sums of money to start investing. If you want to start investing with little money, comment DigiSave in the comment section if you're seeing this video on Instagram. But if you're on TikTok, you'd have to manually go to Google Play Store or on the Apple iOS App Store and download the Achieve by Petra app. Start investing your money with Achieve by Petra. And as always, we go talk more, Charlie.
Hello and good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. Welcome to the Achieve by Petra webinar. We'll be having a very interesting conversation. But before I dive deep into what we'll be talking about today, let me know who we have online with us. So in the comment section, you can just drop your name and tell us where you are joining us from. So we are live across Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. So if you are joining us from any of these platforms, just drop a comment in the comment section. You can see my name is Prosper. I'm joining from the Volta region, or my name is Albert from La. So I can see Albert from La. So let's know where you are joining us. I can see Mimi from Deloitte. Okay. So thank you all for joining, and definitely for joining on time. Daniel from Cape Coast, Ifia from Accra, Moses from Tema, Jones from Kumasi, Daisy from wow. Technology is a good thing. Thanks to technology, I'm sitting in my office, but I'm present across Ghana, actually across the globe. Just waiting to see somebody joining us from somewhere outside Ghana. Then I can just conclude that I have my feet everywhere in the world at this moment. Anyway, thank you guys for joining. Thank you everyone for making time to be with us today. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic that a couple of us, you might be seeing some depth in your global tech investment. Definitely people are asking what is going on, where's my money? When you see the comments on social media, and when we put out they're going to have this webinar, we saw the sentiments, people were happy. I know you've come with a lot of questions, and we are here and we're going to respond to all your questions. So please just sit back, relax, get all your questions ready, and listen attentively to the explanations and the insights that our panelists are going to give us on why you should stay invested in global tech. And if you're not even invested in global tech, the reason why you should even start investing in global tech on the Achieve by Petra app. So today I'm here with two wonderful gentlemen. I have Daniel Anneman, who is head of product at Achieve by Petra. So Daniel, you can put on your video and unmute yourself. Great.
Yes.
So I have Daniel. Daniel, good to have you.
Thank you, Kobla. Thanks for having me here. And good afternoon, good morning, good evening to our joiners here.
Definitely. And we also have Ajay Boateng. He's the Chief Investment Officer from Blackstar Advisors Group. Ajay, let's hear from you. Good to have you. How are you doing? Okay. Ajay, you can... Okay.
Can you hear me?
Ajay, I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, perfect. So, hi, everybody. It's nice to virtually connect to you all. You will see that I'm on here twice. So sometimes my machine goes off a little bit. So if it goes off, I'll be talking from my phone. But I want to be able to show you a few things which will make sense. So just bear with me when that happens. But I think by the end of this call, you should leave feeling a bit more reassured and not to panic so much, as you say. So I'm happy to be here.
Great, great, great. We are happy to have you both, AJ and Daniel. So before we just go into the conversation, I know we've all seen the appreciation of the dollar lately. A lot of conversations have been going on. What's the sentiment? How do you feel about it? Let me start with AJ.
Yes, I mean it's been the talk of the town over the last sort of couple of weeks. It's actually good for Ghanaians that the dollar, the city has been strengthening. Now it's driven by a combination, a couple of things, which is first one is global related, which is President Trump in the USA. The introduction of his tariffs has been a contributing factor, and then it's also driven by a combination of certain things that is happening in Ghana. So Ghana has been accumulating a bit more gold and been selling it, which has meant that there's been a bit more dollars coming in. So it means that like people who are looking for dollars are able to find dollars. So it's been supply and demand. So the more supply of dollars there are, the less that I mean, if they're able to meet all the demands plus maybe even additional a little bit more, then historically it would lead to not so many people chasing dollars. So that is a combination. The additional bit is some of the things that the new administration is looking at to do. So one of the things is that they haven't actually started spending as yet, but also some of the market has responding to some of the things that they're saying they're going to do. Whether it is whether they're going to be able to see it through or not, it's been a positive reception by the market. And then the third bit is perhaps when it starts strengthening, others see what is happening, and then they sort of rush to get more cities and sell their dollars, which reinforces the downward trend. So net has been a positive. I think the question that is on everybody's mind. And I think earlier on this week, I was asked to be on Channel One to discuss some of these things. Is whether this is going to be sustainable or not. So I mean, I'm hoping that through the course of this session, we'll be able to help you answer this for yourself. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I'm sure that helps. We want to keep this very conversational. So our audience who are joining us across our social media platforms, please do want to leave your comments and your questions in the comment section, and I'll be taking them from time to time. So Daniel, what's your sentiment about the dollar? You are muted. You are muted.
Yes, Governor, thanks for that. So yeah, the behavior about the dollar recently for me is very interesting, right? Because I think for most of us Ghanaians, we consume a lot of foreign imports. Our day-to-day buying fuel, the sleep, like the dresses we wear, the food we eat, the dollar always hidden there somewhere. And all of this means that prices go down in general. So cost of living is lower, much lower than before. So it's a good thing, right? Because I remember what 2 weeks ago on Monday when I was buying fuel, I was very happy to see that fuel prices had gone down. I think just was it yesterday or 2 days ago? There was also an announcement that fuel prices are likely to go down further in the next window between 11 and 12. So that's perfect news. That's good news. But on the other side, we all know that Ghana is a small market, right, when it comes to investments and opportunities in general. And because of that, a lot of us have sort of foreign investments. Where you see the dollar weakening against the Ghana cedi, then it means that the value of your investment when converted back to Ghana cedi is lower, right? So I think the feeling is mixed, right? Because on the one side, costs of living is coming down. On the other side, your investments are hustling because of the weakening of the dollar. So I guess for me, those are my sentiments.
It's a mixed bag for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Just to give some people some perspective in terms of the depth of what Daniel and I have just been mentioning. Can you allow me to share my screen so people can actually see? I want to show people a couple of things.
Okay. Have it. Okay. I can't see your screen.
Okay, I'm trying to share it now.
Okay.
Can you accept it?
Got it. Okay.
Perfect. Is it visible for everybody?
Yeah, I can see it. I hope it's visible. Please let us know in the comment section if you can see what AJ is sharing. Yeah, you can go on.
Yes. So just to give people some depth of what has actually been happening, right? So in the last since the start of the year, the city is now up around 18%. As we can see. But if we look at what is happening in just the last 1 month alone, it's been up around 20 almost 25%, right? And it's a combination of things. But historically, if you were to look at it, for say 5 years, this is how it looked like. So we looked like we were losing value a lot of the time. So because of the just the deficit that we have in the country. So what is happening that has caused a lot of the uphill is this bit that's happening here, right? In fact, if you look at it even longer term, it looks something like this. So we've been losing value a lot since we redenominated, right? So everybody, unless you've even invested, which is why we've been sort of having this conversation. So we've been sort of losing value, but when you zoom in, what is happening in the last sort of, when you look at it in the last year, is along here. This is what we're talking about. So
Yeah.
unless
I
you
appreciate
have been investing in, say, DigiSave and other things, you slowly, people who just put their money under the bed have like slowly been losing the money. So the only people who have been protected are people who have been using some sort of a DigiSave or style of investment, and then people who have been buying some treasuries as well have been sort of gradually been protecting themselves with this. So what has been happening in the last sort of month or so is this era. This is what we're talking about here, right?
Okay.
And the question is, given the history, whether we believe this is now going to be sustainable or not, right?
So let me hold you right. Let me hold you right there. Before we go into the details of whether it's sustainable, whether we are people are seeing losses on the global tech because of the dollar, the CD appreciation, like what really is happening. We'll get into the details of the matter very soon. But if you just joined us, this is Achieved by Petra, and we are live across all social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. And we are having a conversation on why you should stay invested or why you should start investing in global tech. So before you even begin, if you join and you are just hearing dollar all over the place, yes, we are talking about dollar because this investment or this fund is invested in foreign tech companies. So if you probably haven't heard of Global Tech before, Global Tech is an investment fund that is you can get access to it on the Achieved by Petra app. So you can download the Achieved by Petra app, placed on Play Store or App Store. But I'm going to let Daniel give you some more details on what Global Tech is really about, and then AJ will take us deep into what is happening in the background, especially while you are seeing those dips. So, Daniel, what is Global Tech?
Yes, Governor. So yeah, Global Tech is one of my favorite funds these days. And I'm very happy to tell our users what Global Tech is all about, right? So for starters, Global Tech is a mutual fund, right? Global Tech is a mutual fund, and simply what a mutual fund is that you have a pool somewhere, and that pool has sort of collected money from different people. So myself, AJ, cousins, friends, people I don't know, people I know, right? And it sort of pooled all of these funds, and it says, I need someone expert to manage me, right? So In this case, that manager is Blackstar Advisors, and Blackstar will be responsible for making all of the investment decisions for the group. All right. I think what makes Global Tech very interesting is its strategy, which I think AJ will talk more about around investing in global tech stocks. Right. But I think for me, one of the reasons why I really love global tech is it sort of makes it easy for every Ghanaian to be able to access the global stock market, regardless of their investment experience, right? And why is this important? We all know the important role that stocks or equities plays in our lives. For me personally, I think that um, having investment in stocks is very essential for long-term investing. Why? Because it sort of protects your money from inflation. And when you buy treasury bills, it won't be able to do a very good job at protecting your money from inflation, right? But stocks, time and time and again, history tells us that stocks has always outperformed treasury inflation, and I think AJ will also be able to shed some light on that. So you'd realize that for every long-term goal, the biggest enemy that you have is inflation. So, for example, pre-COVID, around 2020, I used to fill my full tank for about 200 cedis. These days, I fill my tank for 700 cedis. That's inflation, right? So between 2020 and 2025, that's 5 years. What sort of investments do I need to be doing to ensure that 5 years down the line, I'm able to afford my current standard of living? I cannot do that by maybe just working or keeping my money in a bank account or putting my money in a very conservative mutual fund or a money market fund. I need a more aggressive fund. And for me, Global Tech does just that. So because of all of these features or characteristics of Global Tech, it makes it very ideal and perfect for long-term investing. So I think I'll end here in terms of what Global Tech is and what Global Tech does for our users. And
Right.
maybe AJ can chime in if he has something to add.
Yeah, so before I get to AJ, what I even like about Achieve, the Achieve app or the Achieve by Petra app is how it democratizes investment. For I was having a conversation with AJ, and he told me that he has been investing in stocks for about over 2 decades now. Over 2 decades now. And for most Ghanaians, they probably didn't know about even how to involve or how to invest in stocks. And Achieve by Petra even makes it very possible or makes it easy for people to invest in these stocks. So if you're here and you do not have the app, you have to download it and now get access to, AJ was even talking about how holding your money or holding the dollars, you will be losing out than if you had invested it. And Achieve by Petra makes it easier for you to invest. AJ, are you here? Are you here with your phone? So as you said,
Yes, I'm here, but I'm connecting with the laptop again. So, but I'm here. I'm listening to everything.
All right, cool. So AJ, I just wanted you to just give us the silver lining on the strategy behind how global tech works, the kind of investment that we have invested, or the kind of businesses or the kind of tech companies that the global tech is invested in, and the kind of assurance that people should have because of where it's been invested and the people who are managing the decisions and being taken about these investments. Yeah.
Sure. Just allow me to share my screen again. Just approve that, and then I'll just walk through everybody. Can you see my screen?
Clearly.
Okay. So global tech, as the name suggests, is basically allowing Ghanaians to get access to some of the most innovative and global technologies that there is in the world. Now, a huge amount of it is concentrated in the US for now. But what it does is that it takes a step back and looked at every day, our day-to-day life, and looked at some of the things that we use every single day, right? And change the view and say that actually, rather than us using WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook every day and really enjoying the platforms, we should turn the corner and say, no, we should allow Ghanaians and Africans to also own a piece of that business, right? So as we speak, that I'm sure there isn't a person on this call right now that today have not used Instagram, Facebook, or WhatsApp today, right? And every time we use these sort of platforms, they're making money. What Global Tech does is that actually, no, we want Ghanaians to also um, own a piece of that business. So that's one. Another one is maybe say Microsoft, right? So if you work or if you work in an office space, there isn't a day that goes by without you using Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, Teams to do your work. In the companies that we work for send money to these US companies and global companies every year or sometime every month or every quarter, and they make a lot of profit. So what Global Tech is saying that no, we should be earning a piece of whenever they make profits and the stocks keeps going up. We want Ghanaians, and not just Ghanaians, Africans, to also benefit from that sort of earnings that they'll be making, right? And that goes through everything. So here are some of the top names that you see in Global Tech. So another name that might not be too familiar to a lot of people, but it actually plays a role in everything that we do, is a company called TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Now, it's because of this company that US has so much tension with China, because if you have a smartphone, or whether you are having this call on your mobile phone or whether it's on a laptop, there's a thing called GPU, which is graphic processing unit. Basically, this Taiwanese company makes these GPUs that is embedded in everybody's phone or everybody's devices around the world, right? In fact, they are so important to the world that once one CEO said that this company is the most important company in the world, that if they stop, the rest of the world will come to a standstill. And it's so important to the rest of the world that the US is willing to have a war with China, or like just to protect because of this one company. So and what that does is that, and when you look at their earnings over the long term, these companies have made a lot of money, and yet Ghanaians and Africans haven't really benefited. We use the devices, we use their products. So global technology says that no, let's allow Ghanaians to also earn some. Let's change our cities into dollars, invest in some of these companies, and in the long term, it will be like a really great way for us to grow that money. And since we started, if we go a little bit back, so this is how it looks like. So since it started, it's been doing quite well. In fact, in each of the last 3 years, if you take January to December, in each of the last 3 years, Global Technology has been the best performing fund in each of the last years in Ghana, actually, right? But as you can see from this chart, it's not like a straight line, right? It's like it goes up now and then, and sometimes it might come down. But over the long term, it's been doing really, really well, right? Now, what has happened in the last 3 months is because of mainly Trump, and then some of the decisions that has been made in Ghana. But the underlying companies are like still very, very good and strong companies. So in a nutshell, that is Global Tech. And the final thing that I want to add to that question is, everybody's talking about the fourth industrial revolution, artificial intelligence, AI, cybersecurity, robotics. Like basically, the way you participate in that fourth industrial revolution is to own global technology, right? So if you use ChatGPT, then you have to own a piece of Microsoft. Well, it's the second largest company in global tech. If you use Gemini, Google is also in here. It doesn't appear in the top 10, but the shares are in here. If you go a little bit down, because there are 2 shares, and in fact, when we add those 2 shares up, it will appear in the top 10. Semiconductors, which is the chips. So these are the things that are allowing this fourth industrial revolution to happen. And global
Yeah.
tech allows you to be able to own a piece of that future. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. So you've explained the businesses or the companies that Global Tech Fund is invested in, and how they are doing well, and how the future is more or less certain that they are going to do well, because they are definitely being driven by the fourth revolution, that which is tech and AI and all these things. But the thing now is, after all these interesting things that you're telling us, I still see that my money is dipping. What is going on?
Okay, so there's a couple of things in which people need to be made aware of. Now, to do that and to make it a bit more clearer to you all, it's important to look at our website and just try and compare what is actually been happening, right? Now, so I'm just going to bring Global Tech up so for everybody to see, and it will make a lot more sense to a lot of people. Can you confirm you can still see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. So on my screen is Global Tech. Now, what I'm going to do is sort of flip over a couple of slides, and it will all make sense, right? And what I'm comparing Global Tech to is the 500 largest companies in the US, right? Now,
Right.
when we look at Global Tech performance since the start of the year in dollars, right? It has almost returned 7% in dollar terms, right?
Okay.
Versus the 500 largest companies in the US, which has only returned around 0.3%, right? Now, now that is in dollars. But because of what has been happening since the start of the year, which is the CD appreciating, right? If we change it to cities, it is actually down a little, like 9.5%, right? But
Okay.
the rest of the world, if you left Ghana, and about half of your pensions will be invested in this one, which is the S&P 500, the 500 largest blue chip companies in the US, you would have actually lost around over 15% in cities, right? Because of what has happened here with the CD versus the dollar,
Right.
right? I hope people are
Right.
following,
Yeah.
right?
So in essence, you're saying that the Global Tech has appreciated more even compared to the 500 strong companies in the US.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I'm saying. So what we're saying,
Right.
what we are actually saying is that, like, if you are, like, if you were outside of Ghana, if you were in US, Europe, UK, a huge amount of people, all they do is invest in the 500 largest companies in the US, right? And since the start of the year, if you were there and you were looking at your performance in cities, you have actually lost 15%, right? Global Tech has only lost you around 9.5%. But if you look at it in dollars, which
Yeah.
initially the reason why everybody wanted to invest in Global Tech is actually to get some dollar exposure, to grow your money in dollar terms,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You have actually done almost 7% since the start of the year, and it's not bad at all. You're doing better than most people around the world.
Yeah.
Right? But
Right.
the question in terms of whether people should panic or not is whether they believe the CD appreciation is likely to sustain for the rest of the year or for the rest of the next couple of years, right? If they think that it's here to stay, then fine, they should probably liquidate all their money from Global Tech and probably buy CD assets. But I wouldn't recommend, really, because what you want to do is diversify, right? And the reason why Global Tech was so important was to allow Ghanaians to own a piece of some of these businesses. Now, let me add something else to it. So over the last 15 years, if you had invested in Global Tech, here are some of the returns, right? And these are in dollars. So last year, global tech returned around 25% in dollars. The CD depreciated around 19% or so. If you added this to this one, you're looking at almost 46, 47% return in cities. The previous year, it returned around 54% in dollars, right? But in 2022, it lost about 33%. But over the course of the 15 years, what you see is that it had given you more higher returns than has lost money, right? So much
Yeah.
so that, like yesterday, I was invited to attend a pension conference, and
Right.
they compared Botswana. They brought Botswana head of asset management in to come and talk to Ghanaians, right? And what they realized that Botswana has the best performing pension in all of Africa. And when you evaluate what they've done, Botswana has actually gone into global tech, right? Almost 50% of Botswana pension, which has allowed them to have the best performing pensions in all of Africa, is actually in global tech. And for the first time, we are actually allowing Ghanaians and other Africans to also participate in some of that. So it's like there's a deeper understanding that is required from all the investors in global tech. I know it's an early stage sort of process, but actually it's doing exactly what is expected to do, and that is growing your money in dollar terms. Albeit there will be some times where it is down a little bit because of global sort of uncertainties and other things. But in the long run, we are actually growing the money in dollars, which is actually doing it.
Right. So let me take this from Daniel. So Daniel, with all that AJ has explained, the performance, the CD appreciation, and all that, what does this mean to a regular user? Should they keep their money in for the long term? Should they take their money out? What should they do with their money? What should they do with global tech?
Yeah, Kobna. So I think with everything that AJ has said, right? For me, it's simple. Now is the time that we need to remain very disciplined in global tech, right? So now is the time for us to be consistent. What am I saying? If you were saving 100 CDs every month in global tech, don't stop. Continue to do this because why would you stop? You are saving for the long term. So why are you paying attention to the current short-term volatility that we have, right? So most importantly, I think what I want to tell our investors is that remain disciplined in the fund, be consistent, continue to save regularly. Now it's hard. How do we expect to be saving money when I see that the balance I have, I'm already using it? You need to understand, like you need to have a belief in it. You need to understand what it is that your funds are being invested in. You need to learn a lot, read a lot about what's happening in the global markets. AJ has already told us a summarized version of that. But beyond this call, go online, Google US trade war. What does that mean? You need to really understand what's happening in the market just so you can understand. You can also form your own opinion on how stocks are likely to behave. That's one. Two, you need to understand the fund manager and their strategy. Right. For me, I really like that AJ is showing us all of these charts because for me, all of that is indicating that the fund manager has strong expertise when it comes to managing a global stock portfolio. If you were to be doing this by yourself, you'd have to go through the complicated task of selecting your own securities or your own stocks. You'd have to be monitoring the markets every single day. And for those of you that don't know, the market never closes. When the market closes in one part of the world, in another part of the world, the market is open. When it closes there, in another part of the world, the market is open. So the market is always active, and you need an expert fund manager with the necessary tools and capabilities to be able to track the markets and be able to identify opportunities where they need to invest more, they invest more, where they need to disinvest, they disinvest. So understanding that your fund manager has all of these capabilities, for me, I think it's very important in helping our investors build confidence, right? It's very important. It's just like all of us Ghanaians in the country. Like, the president we vote for is sort of an indication of how confident we are about the next 4 years. If maybe some President A comes, everybody will be like, oh, I'm not confident about the next 4 years. Or President B comes, and it's like, yeah, I'm more confident. So it's very important that we understand who Black Star is, and what their expertise are, and like we are comfortable with whatever findings we get, so that it gives us the confidence to remain in the fund even during down times. Do you get it? So I think that in a nutshell, we really need to be consistent. We really need to stay the course, be very disciplined when it comes to investment decisions in global tech. And the way in which you can remain confident in all of this noise is to have a very solid understanding of the
Right.
strategy and have a very solid understanding of what's happening in the external economy. Have a very solid understanding of the fund manager, what they believe in, right? To help you grow that confidence necessary to stay in the fund. Now, here's what you shouldn't do because of the dips. You shouldn't withdraw your money, because when you withdraw your money, you'd only be crystallizing whatever losses you have incurred till now. I'm no expert accountant, but what I know is that for those of us who have investments in global tech, maybe from February to date, you've made some losses. Now, the accountant will tell you that those losses are unrealized losses. It means that once you liquidate your investments, then you realize them, then it becomes a real loss. Right? For now, they are paper losses. And this whole time, we've sort of positioned global tech as a long-term fund, which means that for most of us, we are just in the fund for less than 6 months. We've just been in the fund for about 7 to 8 months. We have a couple more years ahead of us. So why not wait? Why not ride the storm? Because we sort of have confidence that the fund manager has expertise to be able to execute global tech strategy, right? So let's stay the course. Don't withdraw from the money from the fund. And secondly, do not change your investment strategy because of the current dips we are seeing. You had a plan. You want to go to school in the next 5 years. You want to hedge against the city's depreciation. You want to start a business in a couple of years. And because of that, you decided to invest into global tech. Now is not the time for you to derail from that strategy. Because when you do that, what are you going to do next? Like, it sort of disorients you, right? And AJ has just told us how much of a long-term view global tech is. So whatever is happening right now is short term, as AJ already mentioned. So our goals are long term. So I'd encourage our investors to remain in the fund, be disciplined, be consistent, save regularly, do not withdraw, and also do not change your investment strategy.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Let me just add something small to what Kwabena just said, right? And he's exactly spot on, right? So when I was showing everybody the global technology versus S&P 500, which is the 500 largest companies in the US, and in fact across the world, a huge amount of people's money, including large pension funds and endowments and other things, are invested in the 500 largest companies in the US, right? Let's just compare global technology performance over a different time periods. So we see here that this is what I've been talking about, that since the start of the year, it's done almost 6.5% better. But what about in 6 months? People who put the money, these are all in dollars, okay? People in 6 months' time, it's done 10% better than you're doing better than most people in the US or in Europe, right? Your portfolio in global technology is up 10%
Yes.
in dollar terms, but actually the rest of the people in the USA, in Europe, in the UK, their portfolio is actually in negative terms when you look at it in dollar terms. Well, what about 1 year, right? In 1 year, you're doing twice as good as these people in the US, right? That is what reinforces what Daniel was saying, that the fund manager, Blackstar, we really know what we're doing when it comes to the type of securities to select that should go in global technology, right? The technology fund. So in the long term, Kwabena and Daniel are spot on. The fund is a long term, but let's assume that you put the money at the start, maybe say in February, you would have seen the money going down a little bit, and you panic withdraw. Or if you put it around, maybe say January or end of December, around that period, what you would have seen it was that like it's actually coming down, and you would have withdrawn only to see it come back within less than like 3 or 4 weeks,
Yeah.
right? It's a long-term fund, but if you're judging it in terms of what happened on a week-to-week, day by day, you will not see the true value of the global technology fund. Am I making sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
In a lot.
the Indian investors are like actually doing twice as good investing in global tech versus somebody. In fact, you're outperforming people in the US who are earning dollars like by like twice the rate in the last 1 year. So people should look at it long term allocation. In the short term, things will happen, but actually, it's a great fund to.
Yeah.
We are so inspired to sort of ensure that Ghanaians also have the same opportunity. And what Global Tech is showing that actually we're doing better than some of the largest global funds. So the likes of BlackRock, Vanguard. This is what there will be a lot of people will be buying. And what Global Tech in Ghana is showing is that like we're doing twice as good as them managing the fund in Accra here versus those sat in New York and London.
So for me, it reminds me of a quote by Warren Buffett. He says that risk is not knowing what you are doing, and this call is just giving us more insights, more understanding in what is happening on global tech, and even more, most importantly, helping us to know that the people who are managing the fund are not novice. They understand what they are doing, and they're going to make the right decisions for us. So if you are invested in global tech, this call is very important. It's going to give you all, I'm sure by now you understand through and through what is happening. You appreciate why you have to keep your money invested, and you will not be in a hurry to take your money out because it is dipping. And the motivation is that this is a long-term fund, and it has proven itself over the years to always recover over time. The moment that you take your money out means you've crystallized your losses. But if you keep your money in, your losses are just on paper, and with time, you get to recover. I've seen a couple of questions that are related to should I take my money out? Should I take my money out? And I think that this presentation by Daniel and AJ really responds to those questions. But if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section, and then I would address them to either Daniel or AJ. So let me look through the comment section. Okay. I think some of the questions have already been answered. Okay, so Momoni says that in for the long term, so I'm not much bothered about the instability. So Maxwell from Tema, Joel says, please, can you also talk on Eurobond? It's been depreciating for a while. AJ or Daniel, would you want to take that?
No, so I think because we are doing global tech, Kopla, maybe you can put a pin on that, and we can talk about Eurobond as the last thing before we drop off this call, just so we don't distract the conversation.
Distract the conversation. That's fine. Maxwell, when do you expect money? Say, okay, no, let's keep. So I'm taking the conversation on global tech. All the rest, we'll take those ones. We'll prioritize global tech conversations for now. So Andrew says that from your explanation, most of the global tech gains are from the CD depreciation than investment itself. So let me read again. From your explanation, most of the global tech gains are from the CD depreciation than investment itself. Daniel AG, does it make sense? Can you respond to this?
Yeah, I
No,
think AJ will speak to this. Yeah.
what he's saying is actually the opposite is true. So most of the losses are as a result of this the currency strengthening. But what this chart, the one that you see on the screen, is saying is that actually the actual underlying, because it's in dollars, we've actually been growing it in dollar terms, right? But because the city has just appreciated in the last 3-4 weeks aggressively, and the result is here, which is what I showed you. So in the last 1 month, the city has gone up around 25%, but global technology in the last one month has only gone up in, let me just double check, and here it will load in a minute. In the last 1 month, global technology has gone up around 19%, right? So it's like 19 minus 25. That is why if you look at it in dollar terms, it will be a bit more negative, right? But actually you could do the direct comparisons that versus the 500 largest companies, it has done so much better, right? So this is in dollars, but if we flip it to be in cities, because we are like the city has appreciated so much more than the 19%. So it's like 19 minus 25. That's what you see there. But at the same time that the city has gained so much, your money has actually gone up almost 19% in dollar terms. In fact, this is the biggest takeaway from this global tech call, that in the last 1 month that everybody is excited and we've seen the negative numbers, your funds in your holdings in global technology has gone up like almost 19% in the last 4 weeks, right? But it's because the city has gone up by 25. The net is what you see, that when you see on the app, it looks like, oh, my investment is bleeding, but actually your investment has gone up like 19% in just the last 4 weeks alone when you look at it in dollars.
Right. So Christian is saying buy the dip. Okay.
That's what some of the most savvy and smartest investors do. The institutional investors, that's what they do when they understand the fund really well. And some of the retail investors have also been doing the same thing. So there are some of you who understand the fund really well. When it was dropping around here, they were really buying a lot of them. But you were like far and few, right? But majority were selling. But the institutional, the fund managers were actually buying. So they do the opposite of what the retail people do.
Right. Okay. So
I hope that helps.
Yep. So please let me know in the comment section. The conversation has been helpful. So we'll quickly go for a commercial break and we'll be right back.
Oh no, my car broke down and the repair costs are way higher than I expected. I need cash right now. I need cash. I can't also wait for payday. And borrowing money takes forever. What do I do? Wait a minute. I've been saving on the Achieve app. I should have some money there. Wow. My DigiSave investment on the Achieve app gained some additional interest. I love this app. With the Achieve app, I can instantly have access to my emergency savings anywhere, anytime. I've been saving little by little, and now I don't have to stress at all. Download the Achieve app today and start building your emergency fund. It's the smartest way to stay prepared for life surprises.
Okay, thank you so much for staying tuned in. You're welcome. This is the webinar organized, sponsored by Achieve by Petra, and we're talking about why you should stay invested in global tech. We've had Daniel and AJ. So Daniel is the head of product at Achieve by Petra, and AJ Boateng is the chief investment officer from Black Star Group. I'm twisting a lot of R's and L's, please pardon me. So we've been talking about why I should stay invested in global tech. He's made us understand what is happening to the firms or the companies that global tech is invested in, how they are performing well, their performance from Meta to Palantir to Google, they are all performing well. But what we are seeing today is because of the appreciation of the cedi. And for us to see good returns on our global tech investment, we have to stay invested for the long term. So that's what we've been talking about, and we have been responding to your questions. We are gradually rounding up, so I'll take a few questions and I'll take some closing remarks from our panelists, and then we'll call it a wrap. So if you have any questions, please do what to put them in the comment section, and then we'll attend to them. But if you are here and you've not started investing on the Achieve by Petra app, you should download it from the App Store or Play Store. You can just dial *713*70# to download the app, or just go to the Play Store or App Store and type Achieve by Petra. We have different products on the Achieve by Petra app. We have DigiSave. So DigiSave is a low risk investment. So if you're somebody who is not ready for the high risk investment or want something for the short term, you can be thinking of DigiSave. And DigiSave is something that others are also using now as a strategic business partner. And I'll tell you more about that before we wrap up this conversation. So let me see if we have some more comments coming in. Linda says, I'm disappointed in the depth of global tech. Yes, Linda, we have explained why that is happening and why you should stay invested to see future returns. So if you missed that, I think this webinar will be live on our various social media platforms.
Kobina, let me address Linda's question quickly. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
So Linda, like the reason why you might be sort of disappointed in the short run is that maybe you are trying to use global tech to address something that is not in alignment of what global tech should be used for. So let's say if you are using global tech to solve for your emergency fund, then of course you should be disappointed because it is not what it's designed for. So such a product you should be using like DigiSave because the odds of it going up and down is significantly lower, right? So part of that is that ultimately the fact that you're not using the right solution to address the objective that you're trying to solve. But if you take a step back, for example, your salary is in cities. Well, for most of us, your pensions are in cities. A lot of your expenditure are in cities. So global tech is one of the few diversifying things that is actually allowing you to grow your money in dollar terms. And it's designed for medium to long term to extreme long term, because that is where we see a lot of growth. So if you are disappointed in the short term, then maybe it is because you're using the wrong fund to address
a particular problem. So you're probably better speaking with the Achieve team to really get you to really reevaluate everything, because you can't be disappointed if um if you're going for a long term sort of objective, and in the short term you've seen some small volatility. So Linda, please, like, engage the Achieve team, and we might be able to be in a better position to address that.
Great. Thank you for that, AJ. All right, so let me take the closing remarks. I'll start with Daniel, and then I'll close it with AJ.
Yes, Kobna. Yes, so I'm hoping that this conversation has been very insightful for our users, very interesting for me in particular. But I think for me, one of the key takeaways for me is that I'm hoping that majority of the users on Achieve, right, have really done a good job at aligning their goals with the right fund, right? That's very, very important. What I mean is, so if your goal is maybe I'm paying my rent in the next 3 months, I'm paying school fees in the next 2 months, just keeping some idle cash, you need it in the next year. I really, really hope that our users have parked these funds in DigiSave, and the funds that they want to be more aggressive with, the funds that have a much more longer time horizon, they have appropriately parked in global tech. And of course, for the medium term funds, medium term goals, and maybe you're an importer, you usually import things from the US, from China, and whatnot. You sort of park your funds in Eurobond Trust as well. And that way, you've done a very good job at matching your goals with the appropriate investment vehicles. The reason that is very important is that if you don't, you risk not meeting your financial goals when they fall due. Most of the time, a lot of us sort of chase returns. So it is raining cash here. Like, this fund is really doing well. And trust the marketers, they'll always tell you that this is the best performing fund. This is that. And you end up packing wrong money in there, and the next day you see a dip and you're like, that's my school fees money. It's due in 2 weeks, and you lost 10% on it, right? So it's very, very important that as investors, we always match our goals with the right fund. It's like somebody who lives in Tema, right? You live in Tema, and then you are going to Accra, and then you take a car that's going to Dowenya. It's definitely taking you off course, right? Just because maybe the Dowenya car looks nice, it has air conditioning there. I mean, it's like a key contactless card to use the bus and all of that. You are definitely the wrong bus, and in an hour's time, you will not reach your destination, which is Accra. So it's just like that in the investment world as well. You need to do a very good job at aligning your goals with the right investment fund, just to ensure that by the time your goal falls due, there's a very high chance that you have achieved your investment goal. And for most of us, we think that the interest on the investment is really what sort of means that we will achieve our goals. That's not it. Is ensuring that you're in the right fund. That's like the biggest thing. Once you get that wrong, the foundation is wrong. Forget everything. So for me, I always stress on that. Anytime I talk to people, you see a lot of people come to Achieve, they'll call, and what's the interest rate on this fund? What's the interest rate on that? That's how people make investment decisions in Ghana. They make decisions based on investment return, but that's very wrong. While the interest rate is very important, you also need to care about the objective of the fund, which is where is the fund going? We are taking a public transport. Where is this car going? Because when you sit in the wrong bus, you end up in the wrong destination. So I think that's the last thing that I'll end with on this call.
When you sit in the wrong bus, you end up in the wrong destination.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, AJ. I'm sure you also have some philosophical words for us, just like how Daniel ended it for us.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how I can beat that. But Africans, we've missed out in the last 25 years of the technology boom that we've seen, right? We've completely, like, if we were all living abroad, our parents' pensions would have been invested in these names, and they'll be retiring with like so much money that, in fact, when they pass on, they can leave a significant amount of money for us. In Africa, in Ghana, it's the opposite. Most of us are our parents' retirement. And we now have to change that for the next generation. Or the comforting things in our research shows that the next 10 to 15 years, more wealth might actually be created than the previous 25 through the fourth industrial revolution. When we look at what is happening in AI, cybersecurity, data centers, cloud infrastructure, electric vehicles, and so many more other sectors, right? Global technology is aimed at like the greatest equalizer to allow Ghanaians and the rest of Africans to really participate in some of these boom, right? So my advice for you is if you have a long-term view, anything above like 2 years and something that you're planning towards, pay attention to global technology, but you have to get your emotions in check. It's not like a straight line. It will be up and down most of the time. But if you take a year, 2 years, 3 years, what you see is that you would have done much better than most other investments. So it's early days, and in the course of our lifetime, you guys should mark this date as the 15th of May 2025, that you had this conversation, and in maybe say 10 15 years back, if we look back and look at if we had made the decision to invest now, how our fortunes would have changed. We should all mark this date in our diary, because the work we do here is determined to really help us grow our money in dollar terms. That is the sole objective. So, and we believe, based on everything that we've shared with you so far, the fund is actually doing what it exactly intended to do. But get comfortable that in the short run, see some up and down, and use any downwards movement to as a trigger point to actually buy more, not sell. Right? I have been buying more since it's been going down. Most of the people who work that have been buying more since it's been going down. A lot of the institutional investors have been buying more, which is like when you look at what the retail people are doing, they've been selling, right? So take and just engage in whatever achieve, and I'm be more than happy to talk again. It's a place to be for Ghanaians who are planning things for long term.
Okay. All right, AJ, Daniel, thank you so much for investing your time with us this evening.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, I have like one announcement to make. Can I proceed?
Yes.
I've just been informed that the Global Tech Fund will be holding its annual general meeting next month. That's the month of June. So the shareholders of the fund or the investors of the fund should be on the lookout for communication from ourselves. It's very important to participate in this activity, because during this event you get to meet the directors of the fund, you get to meet other people who work with the fund manager as well. And I think because Global Tech is sort of your long-term partner in achieving your long-term goals, it's very important that you meet the sort of the people behind the scene that are making all of the investment decisions that affect your wealth in the future. So this is just an announcement. Be on the lookout. We'll be sharing more details soon.
Okay, thank you for the announcement. So once again, thank you, AJ, thank you, Daniel, for investing your time with us. And for our patrons, our investors who joined in today's conversation, we had about 650 people join the conversation. Thank you so much for investing your time with us. And I hope that you've been able to learn a thing or two about how investments work. And it's going to help you make even better decisions. We've been here for about an hour and 5 minutes. Thank you so much. If you have any other questions, you can just contact us on our social media platforms. And please be aware that our social media platforms are achieved by Petra with a small a. We are verified on X, we are verified on Instagram. So be careful for any fraud. Don't let anybody get closer to you and tell you have won something you have not won. And we are not active as of now. We are not active on WhatsApp. So if you are joining any WhatsApp group that has the name Achieved by Petra, you're doing so at your own risk. So just be on the lookout for that. So thank you very much. And this conversation will be on our various social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. So any other time that you want to come and refresh your memory on how the fund works, Global Tech works, you can just go to our various social media platforms and you have it handy there. So thank you very much, and do have a great we are gradually warming up into the weekend, so I can say do have a great weekend from now. So it's bye from us for now. Bye everyone.
Bye-bye.
Owner of BG Gold Enterprise. Our brand, we sell natural juices. We make convenient products from fruits and vegetables. So we have smoothies, juices, and then we have dry fruits. Well, I first got exposed to the Achieve app, I think over 3 years ago, but I had a lot of reservations considering that it was an online app. I didn't know what it was linked to. I was very scared. So I started signing up, and I got someone, when they asked for my Ghana card, I just stopped. But I think after like 6 months, I got some people I really trusted and respected on the app, and then they continuously recommended it. So I think I'd had constant recommendations for 3 months before I finally went ahead and then finally signed up to it. Wow, Achieve has been wonderful, sincerely. Some of our bulk orders come in early, and then we have to wait a whole month to plan the expenses. So what happened was that we would just keep the money in the bank, and then we had no interest on it. The app allows us to save and invest our money towards long-term projects. It also helps us to even keep short-term money and earn interest on it before we have to use it for other projects. So in all, I believe that it has improved the way we manage our money extensively. We used to work and not see the money because the money was constantly in the bank, and then we just expend it. But with the Achieve app, we are able to plan for long projects and actually execute it. We've been able to buy freezers and even machines from them. Well, I do that already, actually. So this is directly to those who need something that will help them to control their cash flow, manage their money. It helps you see your money, and then you also know where your money is going. So please, if you're a business owner and you need to see your money, you've worked and you don't see where the money goes, you are not able to manage your cash flow, I recommend the Achieve app to you. First of all, you get to save your money, it is safe, plus you also get to gain interest on your money, and then you can plan for long-term projects. So definitely use it, download it, and then get it started.